Welcome to All Gold Everything, a podcast for people who are bouncing back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how you're surprising me with
I am.
now.
I'm just coming up with it off the cuff.
Yeah.
Doing what I can.
What are people bouncing back
Well,
from?
you're bouncing back from vacation.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I always need a vacation after my vacation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you were smart. You scheduled a day off in between, but still, it's like not quite enough.
No. Definitely it was not enough. And I had to run 15 miles that day.
Dang,
so that was
homie.
like I bounced back, if that's what you want to call it.
We're in the process of bouncing back. I'm in the process of bouncing back because from puppy life.
Oh, are you?
I can't hang.
Are you starting to like peek your head out from under the rock?
Yeah,
under the puppy rock.
It's been really hard. I'm actually a little embarrassed about how challenging it has been for me.
Yeah, I think it's challenging for everybody.
It's really tough.
I have not heard one person be like, "I got a puppy and it was the easiest thing that ever happened to me. Didn't change my life at all."
It requires like so much vigilance, so much like ultra watching her all the time, or either at first it was watching her all the time so that she didn't go to the bathroom everywhere. You know, every 3 minutes she had to go out to go potty, basically. And now it's like watching her all the time so she doesn't chew everything that we own.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch that.
Yeah.
You should have got like a genetically depressed dog like we did. And even if he tried to chew something, he couldn't.
He would give it a shot and then quit.
He gives it a shot and he's like... No problem.
We're going to talk about your vacation a little bit later in the show, but I want to talk,
okay.
because we're going to talk a little bit about it as it relates to our primary topic or whatever. But I wanted to hear about how it was. How was it?
It was 80 degrees and sunny, like every fucking day. Like 9 days in a row that were 80 degrees and sunny.
So beautiful.
And the only day I cursed it was when I had to do a 15-mile run.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like really honest about what this looked like. I was running and I was running and I was running.
Still running.
And then I realized at one point that if I turned around and did a loop back at about mile 10, I would hit the beach in front of my resort.
Yes.
And so I did that.
Good
and at
for
mile
you.
10, I hit the ocean in front of my resort. And I floated in the water for a while. And then I went back into the gym and finished the last miles on the treadmill.
Oh my God, you are so dedicated. Holy shit.
No, I feel like
oh
no,
my God.
the opposite. I fucking cheated.
No, oh my God,
totally cheated.
No, that's not cheating. That's like, one of the last marathons that I trained for. I had run a marathon before you and I met, and then I was training for another one before we met, and it was the 4th of July, and I was on like a 16-miler or something, and I had decided to break it up. It must have been 18-miler because I was going to run this 6-mile loop 3 times. And
that already sounds dreaded.
I know. And it was just like all I knew how to do, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm doing more of that these days, actually.
Yeah.
Because I live on the east side and have to run in the dark. So I'm finding myself doing that. Just
a loop over and over a couple of times just for safety and for ease of convenience.
Yeah, for light.
Right.
Light and to avoid, The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's true.
I live in Southeast Portland.
Yeah, and especially on trash day, you do not want to be out there on the night. I learned my lesson. I tried to walk Lemon the morning of trash day, and it was like Thunderdome meets apocalyptic world meets zombies. It was very scary.
Right.
Some guy wearing like an entire tinfoil suit came around the corner and was like holding a bag of Brussels sprouts and was like, "I found some Brussels sprouts for breakfast."
Well,
like
so that
5:45 a.m.
I could deal with a man in a tin suit with Brussels sprouts for breakfast. Like that is at least like, I mean, it's kind of cute actually. I have encountered human poop.
Yes,
so
lots
like
of-
I can't. No. And just the smells.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well-
so I interrupted you. So you were doing a 6-mile loop
three times. Yeah, and that was because I hadn't really learned the concept of like stashing your stuff along an 18-mile route. I just was going to come back home every 6 miles and refill or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the 4th of July. It was like 10 a.m. I was still partying at the time, and like people were starting to text me like, "Hey, what are we doing today? What are we getting?" Like all this stuff was starting, and I was
and you have stops at home along the way.
and I had stops at home after I think it was the first loop. I only did the 6 miles, and I was like, "Fuck this!"
Yeah.
And I quit the run, and then I didn't even run. I didn't even do the marathon. I was like, forget. I bailed on the entire thing that day.
Well, I mean, I think that sounds really reasonable. I think that's one good argument for not doing a 6-mile loop 3 times with your house as the aid station.
Yes, house as the aid station makes it very difficult to go back out.
I'd be like, the way that I knew that ocean was coming, I would know that my house is coming. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I have never done that where I took a break in the middle and then was like, oh, I have to finish out the last 5. And that's why I bow to you, because that is tremendous dedication.
Cheated.
I don't.
Totally cheated.
I don't consider that
but
cheating at all. I think it's
got
self-care.
the miles in.
That's right.
So
that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I figured. I'm like, I'm on vacation. If I have an ocean in front of me, how can I pass this up?
It sounds frankly, it sounds completely
Although
glorious.
I positioned it so the ocean would be in front of
So
me right
awesome.
around mile 10.
I mean, imagine if you lived there every day and,
Yeah.
you did that and you were like, you know what? I go for a 10-mile run and every day at mile 5, I just take a dip and then I get back out and do
Right.
that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Although I have to say, I think I left this part out.
Mhm.
I was getting murdered by the Hawaiian sun.
Sorry.
Like,
I got
I
real
was-
nervous.
No, I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you about the guy with the knife on the beach. How did I leave that out? No, by the sun. The sun was murdering me.
Yeah.
I was like, it wasn't just that like, oh, I'm gonna position myself so I can jump. It was like, I'm dying slowly out here. The sun is
Yeah.
sucking the life out of me. If I don't jump in this water now, I will die.
I will literally be dead.
I'm a precious, what is it, like a delicate flower when it comes to running in Hawaii. Every time I run in Hawaii, this happens to me.
I ran once in Hawaii. Maybe Jeff and I ran while we were on our honeymoon. I think we did, and we ended up running by like a garbage dump. There we were in Hana on the island of Maui, and there really wasn't much to run around.
I ran by a garbage dump. Yes, I did.
And it was like 80 degrees, 80% humidity, and we're running by a fucking garbage dump. And I'm like, this is not honey. What are we? I don't.
The Airbnb was by a garbage dump too. I forgot to tell you about that because I was too busy telling him about the pieces of carcass on the side of the road by the Airbnb. I forgot to tell him there was also a garbage dump there too.
Dang.
Yes, but
It sounds like an Airbnb fail to me.
Yeah, but so because I like died at like 10 miles running in Hawaii, I have to give it up because on January 19th, and so that's the Saturday that just passed.
Yeah.
It was yesterday. The Hurt 100 race began, and that's a 100-mile race on Oahu. It's like, I don't know, something ridiculous, like 20,000 feet of gain
Holy
over
cows.
the 100 miles. And
I
it's
mean,
a
100 miles period sounds ridiculous to.
20-mile loop 5 times.
Ugh. Is your home the stop point? Because I'd be like,
Yeah. But anyway, there's like some athletes out there. There are probably still some out there tonight.
yeah. Oh my God.
And I just got to give it up to them because those guys are not cheating.
And is it 20,000 feet of elevation each time?
No, I don't think
It's
so.
just like a total, like maybe
yeah.
4,000 feet
I think
of
it's like
gain each-
4,000 each
Oh
loop.
my God.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know.
That's crazy.
So like they're out there doing it. I think there might
People
be
are
still
doing it.
stragglers out there right now doing it. So let's just give it up to them because I couldn't handle.
Mad snaps.
I couldn't handle 10 flat miles.
No, it was hot. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff and I did 5 or something, and I was like, fuck this by the
Yeah,
end. Forget
yeah.
it. So you were committed to your running. That sounds incredible. How was staying at the Disney? I need to know how staying at the Disney Resort was.
Dear Walt.
Dear Walt.
You know, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I needed to have the experience and I had it and I'm glad I did. And I'll tell you what you're paying for is the pool and the beach
Yeah.
and all the water slides. I didn't notice until I left the Disney Resort how many rules the Disney Resort had.
Oh.
So if you like a really structured life, you're going to love the Disney Resort.
Very regimented.
But by
What
the
kind of rules are we, like clothing rules or?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
clothing rules for what you wear in the lobby, what you don't wear in the lobby. You have to have shoes on and a top or a cover up. You can't be in your bikini.
Can you wear a thong bikini?
No.
Yeah, I had a feeling
no,
that was a big NO from Walt. God, ew, your
kids,
butt is like the children.
Anyway, I
My
got
butt's
over
amazing. The children would be like, yes.
the children.
Your
are-
butt's amazing. The children would worship our butts.
I mean, I wore a damn near thong there. I have to say, it was very
Yes.
like, Brazilian cut.
Love it. Oh, I'm so here for that.
I didn't realize until I got to the hotel on the Big Island that I was like, oh my God, I could do whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't have to go by Walt's rules.
I'm not constrained by the man.
I'm not.
Damn
but
the man.
nevertheless, and then I had to wait for the elevator for a ridiculously
Oh, yeah.
long time at that resort. And there were just other like little things that made it like not awesome. But
Yeah.
like I knew going in, I was paying for the Disney experience.
Yeah.
The water slides were incredible. The lazy river was everything.
Awesome.
The beach was great. Like any good resort, they nickel and dime you for
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
The one complaint I have though,
Log
Walt,
it. Log it, sister.
Walt, I had to go out to the damn beach club cafeteria out by the pool to get coffee.
What? No. They didn't
Yeah.
deliver that to your room?
Well, you have to pay.
Oh.
And they do have the little Keurigs, but I
It's not
don't.
the same.
I'm a bit of a snob.
the
I'm like,
same.
I'm from Portland, okay? So I could have Keurigged, and I did from time to time. But yeah, you have to walk out to the pool with all the kids in their wet bikinis and their thongs
Yeah.
to get a cup of coffee in the morning, which was like kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that does sound like a pain in the ass. No, thank you. I mean, I think that's a fair and honest review. I would potentially be willing to try it, especially if I spend enough time. I mean, I would like to be at a resort where it's so nice that I can just spend all my time by the water or the beach. So that sounds like an ideal.
Be prepared to spend your money too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no free gear either. Which when I got to the other resort, which was a very lovely resort, all the gear was free, even the stand-up paddle boards.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just easy, you know.
Did you stand up paddleboard around in your little near thong? How cute.
No, I didn't actually stand up paddleboard.
You didn't?
No, because at Disney, I got a boogie board because it was cheaper.
Yeah, fun. But they're also so fun.
It was really, really fun.
They're dope.
Well, the reason I got the boogie board is because I noticed I'm terrified. I'm terrified of losing my daughter to the water.
Oh.
And so in order to like feel safe myself and swim out as far as she swam out, I just got like a boogie board for safety.
Cute.
And I'm like, you know what? I might need a noodle when we snorkel. Who knows?
I love it.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah, I'll wear it. I'll just use a noodle if it makes me feel
I'll
safe.
take all the flotation. I'm not trying to work either. Hello, I'm on vacation. You're on vacation, and you already ran 15 miles that day. So, like, you don't need to do any extra.
It was fear for me. I have ocean fears, which is crazy, but I had a lot of talking with my daughter about my fear. I found myself in a lot of like fear for my life on this trip.
Whoa.
Irrational fear for my life. We can move on.
All right.
But we worked through it.
Awesome. I'm glad you worked through it. It sounds like you had a lovely time. That is very good. I had an interesting trip myself. I went to Trillium Lake. I'm calling it Trill Lake. Okay. For short. I'm just renaming it Trill Lake. Jeff and I went to...
Is trill a word you can find in the Urban Dictionary?
It certainly is. I feel like trill means like... Fred Bushy can fact check this for us, but I really feel like trill means it's like fucking banging. Like it's great. So anyway.
Don't lie, because it doesn't sound like it was fucking banging.
Well, so we went up to this cabin, and we had to cross-country ski in. Yes, Sandy has her hand raised. You have a question.
An adjective used in hip-hop culture to describe someone who is considered to be well-respected.
Yeah. Trill Lake. I will say it was beautiful.
It is a well-respected lake.
Yeah, it is a well-respected lake, and it's glorious. You know, I'm not a huge nature fan.
This is actually appropriate, coming from the words true and real.
Yeah, trill.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of nature, as everyone knows. Even like as Jeff and I were leaving to go on this trip, I was like, I would much rather be going to the mall and drinking a Diet Coke.
I mean, you guys said it in your vows.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. But we went to a cabin. It wasn't camping.
Does this count as a broken vow?
No, it does not, because it was not camping. It was a cabin. But there was but we did have, and there was like running water and a full kitchen. And it was actually like a really, sleeping arrangements aside, which would throw a little bit of a wrench into our plans. The cabin itself was beautiful. It was nice and warm, beautiful wood fire stove, all that stuff. Anyway, we cross-country skied in, and we let the dogs run along with us, and we took Little Lemon the puppy, and her feet got tired, and so we put her in a backpack.
How long was the cross-country ski?
I'd say 1.25 miles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was like some pretty, like I said earlier, it was some up and down terrain. It was some pretty hilly terrain. Like at one, and actually going in, it was downhill, and coming out, it was all uphill. So it was a struggle, and actually...
How do you go uphill on skis if they're not the...
It was so hard.
What are those skis called that you can go uphill on?
Those
Alpine? Or...
Well...
There's a word for it.
Cross-country skis, your heels aren't bound in.
Oh, okay.
So you should technically be able to, like... I went up like this, like a little duck. Quack, 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 quack. And eventually I took them off because it was just too hard. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. It's so hard.
But what are they called? Those skis? Huh? Skins. I don't know. I thought there was a word for the skis. The two that like attach.
I don't know.
What? Oh, never mind.
Well, anyway, it was hard. It was really challenging. Of course, since I had seen cross-country skiing on TV once, I assumed like, oh, this will be pretty simple. I should obviously be able to do this. And that's not really the case at all.
Well, you did it though.
But I did. I did do it, and I only fell down like 2 or 3 times, so that was really not too bad. And I didn't break any bones.
Was it on the downhill you fell down?
Yeah, the downhills really wiped me out. Because I just couldn't. There's not much of an edge to the cross country skis, and so even though I tried to pizza or cheese wheel wedge my way to slow down, and I just couldn't slow down at all. There was no way to slow down until I fell over. So 2 things happened while we were up there. First of all, we put the dog in a backpack, which I sent the picture to Mark, and I need our YouTube viewers to see this picture because it's just so so darn cute. There is Lemon in a backpack.
She's getting so
I know,
big,
she's
so
getting
fast.
so big. So anyway, she was here for the backpack. She was tired of running around after Henry. The other thing that happened is that there was a sauna right outside the house. So I was like, oh, I'm going to sauna for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to go launch myself into the snow after the 20-minute sauna is up, and it's going to feel like super refreshing or whatever, right? So I go in the sauna, I like get all hot and sweaty. I like take a peek out of the door to see like who's around. I see that I can see Jeff standing at the kitchen window doing some food prep stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to run in front of the window. I'm going to jump in front of Jeff like naked and say hi or whatever, and I'm going to like launch myself into the snow. So I did that, but the snow I was like, hey, and he was like, hi. And then I like jumped into a snowbank, but it was covered in ice. Everyone's faces. I had the
And you're sober.
I know. I had the hugest scrape all the way down the side of my like
because
I know it's really so I don't really recommend it. I would say like if you think you're gonna do like the hot and the cold thing, you might want to test the snow a little bit. I just really did not.
Or maybe like attention seeking just doesn't pay off.
Maybe attention seeking. I mean, it was my husband. I just thought it'd be cute, you know, whatever.
The same thing happened on Real Housewives of Orange County.
Oh, really?
And she broke her foot.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
but
glad.
It wasn't ice. But I think that the hot to cold experience is real. I noticed that in Hawaii. Like laying out, my body would get really hot, and then it was really hard to get in the cold. The water felt so cold. So it would have been quite the sensation.
Yeah.
And good recovery from your skiing.
So, anyways, it is what it is. It was pretty. I had to laugh at myself because I feel like that is kind of an out of the normal box thing for me to do. But I was like, well, I'm just gonna do this, and then bounced myself right off the snowbank. Okay, I have to move us into our first like big news story that's happening this week. Now, because you've been on vacation, I don't know if you've seen this, and I don't know if Joey or Mark and I were talking about it a little bit before the show. This story has been on like CNN, People. I saw it on the Today Show earlier, but there is a city in Sicily, Italy, called Sambuca, which is where the liqueur is from, or what liqueur is from. And they have this problem with people, like there's a ton of brain drain happening, or like population drain happening, where people are just leaving Italy to go to other pastures for whatever. And so they have they have a list of like 25 dilapidated properties that are in this particular town. They're selling them for €1.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So
I mean, it's in Italy.
Here's my money. Okay, it's in Italy. It's in Sicily. So it's in like a city that's
in Sicily.
Yeah, so it's in Sicily. And so basically what you do is you give them their €1, which is like $1.50 or whatever, and then you also have to give them a $5,000 deposit. Now, they give you the $5,000 deposit back after you've renovated the property. Your commitment is that if you renovate the property within 3 years.
That could be tough.
Yeah, and then you live there and you own it, right? So I also thought like this might be tough, but they're reporting that the average renovations are costing like $15,000 or €15,000, which is like $17,500 in US. So I'm like, all right, let's find a list of these properties and see what we're looking at here. So I had sent this to Mark, but these are mostly PDFs, and so you can't upload them on the computer. But I'm going to show you one of them on my little screen here. Mark, can you switch over to the one camera? Like this property is pretty cute. It's got like some little terraces on it. Yeah. You could definitely see yourself like under the Tuscan sunning it here. You know, you just put in like a new heated toilet seat with bidet system and you're like good to go, right? So I was looking at that one. I thought that one was pretty cute. But then there are some of them that are like murder houses.
Oh, nice.
So
I want that one.
So I am really excited about this. I think this is a great idea.
Isn't there like a murder island? It's not a murder island, but there's an island, isn't it, off the coast of Sicily?
I have no idea. Called Murder Island?
No, but so there's an island. It's off the coast of Italy somewhere.
Yeah.
And it basically is an old leper colony. And it was used as a prison.
Okay.
And now it's deserted, but like the prison / leper colony still stands. And like nobody's allowed to go there because it's not safe.
Yeah.
So it's just this like uninhabited, abandoned island.
Maybe they're selling that one too.
And I think it's supposed to be haunted. I think that's the reason it crossed my radar, is because it was like on a list of haunted stuff. But basically it's so close off the coast that you could like paddle out there.
Oh my God.
You could get in a kayak and paddle out to this island.
Well, let's do it. I was just thinking like I'm ready to like write my little check to the city of Sambuca. Here's my $1.50 or whatever, and like arrive over there and be like arrivederci, merci beaucoup, whatever. I mean, I'll learn a little bit of Italian, but the kind of stumbling block for me is that this would be getting into construction renovation
Yeah.
in Sicily,
Right.
the heart of the mafia.
Oh,
Right?
is it?
Yeah. All the mafia, the I don't know, what is that, like, what do they call it, like the crux of humanity, the crucible of the mafia is in Sicily. So I feel like, and mafia is notoriously construction oriented.
Well, get on their good side and get the deals.
I mean, that's kind of what I feel like. I feel like, we're personable.
Yeah. I mean, why fear the mafia?
Why?
Why fear the mafia?
Oh God.
They're just people.
I can only imagine them being like, it'd be a really awful shame if something happened to this house unless you paid us $100,000 right now or something.
I mean, I need a noodle to swim out in a waveless bay. But why fear the mafia?
Yeah.
Is there a waveless bay near?
It's on like the southern tip. I feel like, Joey, are you looking at the maps right now? Are you looking at maps of Italy right now? Is Sicily on the southern tip of Italy? Is that the southern coast?
It is.
Oh, see, it'll be beautiful. So why don't you guys buy a $1.50 property, and then we'll buy the next door property, and we'll just all go there. Because here's my second thing: is I was thinking that even if you ended up into the mafia for like an extra $100,000 or something, you still have $150,000 house in Sicily. Like that's still a pretty affordable spot, right? Even if you have to pay a little bit extra to like keep it from getting burned to the ground by the mafia. So I'm putting it out there. I want you guys to think about it, consider it. I mean, we wouldn't have to be like next door neighbor. I would love to be your next door neighbor.
Our dogs, I think, would really benefit from that
They
scenario.
would. Oh my God, Weebay would be so excited. Speaking of Weebay, that made me think of his Instagram, and I do have to say that Henry and Lemon now have their own Instagram account, and it's henry.and.lemon.
Nice.
Just FYI.
So follow our dogs.
Follow our dogs.
Henry.and.lemon.
Yeah.
And Weebay_Barksdale.
There you go. So anyway, we can all get on the same page on this property in Sicily thing because I'm ready to do it. Jeff was like, "Why don't you go investigate that next week?" And I was like, "Don't you dare even say that to me because I will like get on a plane and go over there."
I mean, I just have one question.
Yeah, ask. I need you.
Why can't it be Mykonos?
That is such a great segue, Sandy.
Too bad it's not an island off the coast of Greece.
Yeah, because what's going on in Greece right now?
I don't know. There's this raging beach club on the island of Mykonos.
I love it. How many episodes did you get to watch? Sandy and I did a little bit of, this is a segment we're going to move into where we talk about TV for about 10 to 15 minutes. So, because I got to watch some great TV this week while I was.
As did.
Yes. So how many episodes of Lindsay Lohan Beach Club Party Extreme did you watch?
I watched 2.
Yeah.
Very serious episodes. Like, don't fuck with the Lohan name. Because this is about her brand.
That's so interesting. I saw a BuzzFeed article today that said that she's taking herself like very seriously, and that they said something about her being like, "Cause I'm a boss ass bitch," like, but she really meant it, not like in it with any kind of irony.
No, she's like, this is about my name and my brand, and don't bring my name down. Like, you haven't done that already, Lindsay. I mean,
she needs a little reality check.
But that's not even. So
No.
there's only 2 episodes available.
Oh, okay.
It's on MTV.
All right.
And when I took your suggestion, as I always do, and I watched her on one of my favorite shows, which is Watch What Happens Live.
Oh, right.
And I was actually prompted to watch The Beach Club because of her
interview with Andy.
She really was like, I watched this interview and I'm like, Lohan's making a comeback.
All right.
This could be a legit comeback.
Yeah.
I'm just like slow clapping for Lohan. I mean, she was a little sedated. I mean, I think there were probably 4 or 5 milligrams of Xanax floating around in her system for this interview. She was a little bit calm, but I thought she did a really good job. And I was just really kind of excited about it.
Yeah.
So I decided to watch the show.
Okay. Did you watch it on the beach? I do need to know the atmosphere.
No, I watched it in the hotel room with my daughter. And
Yes!
she enjoyed it like
She did?
with me. So I'm going to start with
Love
the
it.
highlight of the show.
Yes, please.
Is Lindsay's business partner named Panos.
Okay.
Watch this show for Panos.
Does he make that? Does he? Is that his face?
He does it, but he's beautiful when he does it. He's gorgeous, and he's Panos, and he's Greek, and Lindsay's the nice one. I'm the one who will tell them like it is. I will fire them.
Ooh! Ooh, he's the stick.
He's good.
She's the carrot. He's the stick.
He's fun. He's just fun to watch.
Awesome.
He's a great character.
A good character.
And it's staged. Everything in the show is staged. And it's kind of like Girls Gone Wild meets like Vanderpump Rules.
Okay, that's the assessment I was reading of it today. That it's in the same, that she makes no bones about the fact that she's looking to have a Vanderpump empire just like Lisa Vanderpump does.
Okay.
And that the concept is that there are like 20 hosts or 15 hosts, and their job is basically just like get the party going.
But they're not hosts. They're like cabana boys.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's
To
why
get
Kyla
people
was
to buy
like dying
stuff.
slowly. She's like, why are they there? They're servers. Like, what is this?
Bartenders.
Yeah.
So it was worth watching.
Yeah. So a few things that just like can't go unsaid because
Yeah.
we know that Lindsay has had her struggles and
do.
she is trying to make a comeback and she is like very serious about her Lohan brand.
Yeah.
This is her second Lohan club. She
Uh-huh.
has another one
Where?
on a LA soundstage / rehab that she calls Dubai. Yes.
Sandy, yes, with the Dubai Slam. I'm dead. I'm dying
So
right
she
now.
basically has a house in Dubai, which convinces me even because that's where she supposedly
lives.
which convinces me even further that if Dubai is not a soundstage in LA, it is a rehab in LA. Like
Oh my God. I'm obsessed with this. Here's what I need us to do. I need us to go to both Lindsay Lohan clubs. We need to take a field trip.
yeah, and show off our fine asses and our thongs.
Where there's no Walt Disney rules and we're just hanging out with LL. Like, I think, should we go to Greece first or should we go to Dubai? Maybe we should go.
I mean, I've been to LA. I haven't been to rehab.
Let's go to Greece.
Yeah, let's
Maybe
go to
we
Greece.
should set that as an intention.
I think that Mykonos is one of Joey's like favorite places. So my husband's traveled all over the world,
Ooh.
and I think that Mykonos is one of his favorite places. Well, I don't know. Now that the Lohan
You're giving us
brand
the thumbs up.
has entered.
Okay, how about this? Maybe what time of year is good to go? I don't know. We should do some research about like what time of year is good to go to Mykonos, how we get reservations at the Lindsay Lohan Beach Club. I mean, I feel like we're going to have to go before it really blows up. I mean, we might be too late.
We may be too late.
Ugh.
So one of my favorite parts, because to get a cabana there,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I could sell it for. They sell for like $1,500 to $5,000. And then when it catches them, like actually trying to sell one, he's like, I don't know, maybe you can sell it for $1,000.
Oh, so we know they're negotiable.
Right?
Yes. I mean, that's not that much different than Las Vegas.
Is it?
Yeah. Like a cabana in Las Vegas for 4 people is like $500 to $1,000.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But nothing comes with it, right? You get like 2 waters and a Diet Coke or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
I'm here.
if
I'm
we
down
go
for
to
this.
Lohan's Beach Club, we can make out with a like cabana boy.
No,
because,
we can't.
Well, I mean, we don't want to, but that's like the whole premise of this show is
Oh.
like you're gonna do everything they want you to do. And
Oh.
so one of them was like, it was just very like Playboy magazine, like the letters to the like, oh, and then I went into this cabana and she just was like, you must make out with me.
Uh-huh.
It was like that, and so he's like, so I had to make out with her.
Because it's what the client wants.
It's what the
guest
client wants. So I had
Yeah,
to do it, and then we went in the ocean and fucked. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then the other one was a guy, and he was like, rub my foot. You have to rub my foot. You know, and it's just like, it's so...
What kind of ridiculous demands? I would be like, I want a whole bowl of Nerds candy, and I only want them to be cherry flavored.
Oh, you are stepping it up with nerds, right? Because like back in the day when it was M&Ms, you're like, I could pick out those green M&Ms.
Uh-huh.
That's not that hard. But nerds is really hard.
They're so tiny.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like that's just mean.
I'm just saying, like, let's give ourselves like a 6-month runtime on this trip to Mykonos to
Okay.
the LL Beach Club, so we can come up with like some really crazy requests that we
Really
need.
crazy demands.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm delighted with this plan.
Yeah.
So we may be a little behind the curve on getting there for a reservation. One of the things we were out in front of though,
What?
this R. Kelly story.
We
We brought you the R. Kelly story back when he was having beef with Drake, right?
back when the Chicago Sun-Times brought it to you.
That's right. A couple months ago.
But people didn't read that shit because it was a newspaper,
Yeah.
so they needed a documentary on Lifetime.
Yeah. So now there's a Lifetime documentary out called Surviving R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Someone today actually posted on Instagram that they couldn't believe they could still find R. Kelly on Spotify. So apparently, You want to maybe
Why are you
Spotify?
looking for R. Kelly on Spotify, motherfucker?
Right. I think they were trying to prove a point, like that they shouldn't be able to
No,
find.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Mute R. Kelly.
Hashtag mute R. Kelly.
You don't even look for him on Spotify.
Yeah. So
what kind of a person are you?
I don't know.
What kind of a monster?
Whoa. The call out culture is real here tonight.
What kind of a monster looks for R. Kelly on Spotify?
I mean,
knowing what we know now.
Supposedly just to find him.
Yeah, but you know what that does? I'm serious about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious about this. Just fucking serious about this.
No more R. Kelly. Hashtag mute R. Kelly. So anyway, we brought that story to you like 4 months ago, which was amazing. And now it's on the Lifetime.
Yeah.
No, it's on Lifetime.
I did watch it, most of it. The only thing I have to say about this is these women, all it does is it shows the pain that he's inflicted because they interview the women that he's hurt.
Ouch.
Really hard to watch.
And their families as well. Is that what I understand? Yeah. I was planning on watching this, but we have several streaming services, and I did not have access to Lifetime, unfortunately. And I did find out I could get it on Amazon, but
you have to pay for it.
Yeah, but which I could. But anyway, so we were ahead of the curve on that. So you're welcome. If you're an All Gold Pod listener, you already knew the story before it broke, and also if you read the Chicago Sun-Times. Two very small circles in the Venn diagram of overlap.
The two primary journalists who investigated him in the Chicago Sun-Times are also included in the documentary.
Good. That's good. Well, I did watch Dirty John on Bravo this week. Which I have to say, this was like maybe a 10-episode miniseries or whatever, a 10-episode series.
Did you watch all 10?
I watched all 10.
Get it, girl.
So I really was committed. It's probably why I didn't get to watching any of the other stuff. I watched all 10. I had never listened to the Dirty John podcast, but I mean, it struck kind of like a deep chord because I just, spoiler alert. I mean, because we're just going to talk about, I don't know how he dies in the podcast, but in the TV show, her youngest daughter kills him because he's trying to kidnap her.
No.
That's not how he dies in the podcast?
No, he dies in prison.
Oh, shit. Okay, so that's the difference. So on the TV show, he is planning a kidnap attempt on the woman's youngest daughter, and he goes into her parking garage to kidnap her, and he stabs her, but she gets the knife. She wrestles the knife away from him, and she ends up stabbing him a bunch of times, and then she stabs him in his eye, which is gnarly. And then he ends up being brain dead, and then they ask the woman, Deborah, to deconnect him from life support. And she's like, I'm not having that. I won't have that on me. You're going to have to find someone else to take him off life support. And so they have his sister come and take him off life support or whatever. And he dies. But some things about this storyline. A couple of things about Bravo, actually. I think this might be more about Bravo programming. Like, by 6 episodes in, they had kind of run out of material. So then on the 7th episode, they showed everything from his point of view. And then on the 8th episode, they showed everything from her point of view.
Yeah.
And I was like, but Bravo, I've already seen it. I don't need any more, like, what happened last week, and here's what, I was like. So it was like they stretched it out a little long for me.
Yeah. That's
frankly.
too bad.
But it was an interesting story because it hit some, like, really old... some like deep fears about like being conned or like how gullible, how easy it is. Because at first I think she's gullible, but then there comes a point in the Bravo version anywhere where she like just willfully ignores a bunch of stuff, where she just goes, I'm just not listening to that. I'm just doing what I want, basically. So it was really interesting.
Well, I mean, it's a really good question because it's like love is blind and love makes us do really foolish things.
Yeah.
And it's like that age-old question of like, when do you as a family member or like close friend, like tell someone like this dude is like he's not good.
Yeah.
Because you know that this is what women do or men, I don't know. I have not had the experience that men often do it too, but it's possible that it's not just women.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that either,
but this is what we do when we're in love, and I do. I actually think it goes across genders. I think that men make terrible decisions also when they're in love, and it doesn't matter what the people around us who we love the most think.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I loved about Connie Britton played the main character Deborah. I can't remember her last name.
I still think it should have been Vicky Gumbelson.
Yes, I know you have your thoughts on that. And one of the things that I did like about what this character did say was like there are several times where she leaves him once and then she comes back to him. Does that happen in the podcast?
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone is like, oh God, it's like, oh my God, just don't go back, just don't go back, just don't go back, and then she does. And then, but in the there's like a period where she's away from him, like maybe 24 hours or a week or something. And she's like, I'm just so embarrassed that I didn't realize this. And I was just so blinded by looking for, what I wanted, which I wanted to be in love. And I wanted to be in love with this handsome man. And I wanted him to be in love with me too. And I'm just so embarrassed that I didn't see what he was really doing. And she had acknowledged all of that stuff. And then she still went back to him.
Yeah.
Which I really think speaks to like the power of emotional manipulation,
right.
And domestic and violence as well.
I was going to say, and
the
cycle of abuse.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, and that's he's manipulating her, and he's playing on those wants and needs and that are arising from old wounds. That is why she was a great victim for him.
And it just made me feel even more solid. Sometimes I feel like I get a little extreme on this where I'm like, they're men that we interact with or men that we date or whatever, they're showing you who they are. So, like, don't second guess it. Don't, like, make a story up for it. Like, don't pretend like it's something else. Like, he's showing you who he is. So, like, sometimes I feel like I get really, like, on a bandwagon about that. And that was the case for, like, there were all these signs about who this guy really was. And she was just like, no, I'll explain it away. It's not a big deal. Maybe he this, maybe he that. Like, it just reminded me that, like, I don't know. I just feel like people show you who they are.
They do.
And I just feel like too often women especially start to explain that stuff away.
Yes.
Yeah. And it just was a good reminder, like, people will show you who they are. Trust them when they do.
Yeah.
Ugh. So it was gnarly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to shift us gears unless you want to talk more about any of these 3 TV shows.
Well, I mean, highlight to me of Dirty John was, well, first of all, I have to say the podcast was really, like, incredibly enthralling. I could not turn it off. I drove extra long to be able to keep listening to it. They did a really good job on the podcast.
I might have to listen to that now that I've spent the time on the TV show.
Highlight is that the daughter who, eventually ended up fighting this guy off during the attempted kidnapping.
Yeah.
This is real because this is a true story. She was a huge fan of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And she would watch The Walking Dead and, like, take notes about, like, how to kill people. And she knew that watching The Walking Dead, that if you go for their eyes.
Oh.
And so when she got her hand on the knife or whatever, she stabbed him in the eye because she learned that from The Walking Dead. And I thought that was, like, kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That was, like, the most awesome part for me. And it sounds like the miniseries didn't talk about the Aussie, but the Aussie was a big part of that final attack scene.
Oh, that's right. Actually, now that you mention it, because the dog is with her, and he's biting, in the TV series, he's biting the attacker's legs.
Yeah.
But that's it. Is there more to it?
Well, yeah, I mean, he warned her and he helped her, and she also attributes, like, her success to the dog.
Yeah.
Which I thought was adorbs.
Very sweet.
Yeah. And I think that she was played by our friend Ruthie from Ozark.
Yes, who we love. Yeah.
Yes.
That girl's going places. I want to know what she's in next. I'm here for
a fan.
Yeah. Maybe we could call her
she
sometime.
She should open a beach club in Mykonos.
Yes, she should come with us. Maybe we should go. Okay, what about this? What if we go to the beach club in Mykonos, we arrive there, and we say, we want Ruthie at our cabana. Make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I just have to say about Lindsay Lohan, she's still kind of a broken toy. I still feel like she needs a lot of help and support. So maybe we could just be, like, there to support Lindsay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a different tact than going there and demanding crazy stuff.
Yeah. Because I just see a woman on the edge when I'm watching her. She's like trying to keep it cool. She's like Britney status post her little meltdown.
Yeah.
Like, she's on the edge, man. And you see her, like, almost lose it from time to time, and it's like it's so hard to watch.
That's
but
scary.
they have, like, these long sweeping scenes of her hair blowing in the wind, and and there's many long sweeping slow motion scenes.
Is it a half hour?
Probably
or is it an
more
hour?
so than there is content.
Yeah.
I would say a good 50% of the content are these transition
It's
scenes.
just the scenery. It's
like
actually just like a geographic channel.
People in thongs and Lindsay's hair blowing in the wind. And she's super filtered.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way,
Yeah.
she made a joke
Yeah.
about how, and I look 40, and we're like, You do.
Oh, yeah. She's 32.
I'm like, she looks older than me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
She's had a hard life, that
Tough
Lohan.
stuff. Tough stuff.
But,
okay,
you know, that nice to buy son.
Yeah. Well, the jury's out. I mean, I definitely see a trip to Greece in our future, and what our attitude and perspective will be on that trip, we can continue to discuss.
Lindsay, call us.
Call us, Lynn.
We'll be your friends and we'll support you.
Yeah, we're also awesome cheerleaders. That's another thing that I've learned about raising this puppy. I already knew I was a damn good cheerleader, but I am like a really good puppy cheerleader. All damn day. Yay, good potty lemon. Yay, lemon. Let's go.
I don't care where I am. If that dog shits,
Oh my god.
if that dog shits, I don't care where I am. Good potty, Weebay. Yay.
Right. Can I ask you, is Weebay shy about shitting outside of his yard?
He's getting better at it. He's shy about everything.
Oh my god, Lemon does not like to shit outside. She's like, do I have to? Do I have to? Her poor little butt. I'm like, you have to. Just go.
Yeah.
That's very graphic. I'm sorry.
He's getting better.
Good.
He's getting better.
Okay,
but
there was hope for her too,
everything is very stressful for Weebay.
Oh. I have a couple more topics that I want to talk about. One of them is that a couple months ago, I had a piece of jewelry it was an heirloom piece of jewelry that I was worried about its safety in my house. And so I hid it. Okay. And then I lost it because I couldn't remember. I hid it from myself. So on Christmas Day, I went to go find it to wear it out because we were going to a nice dinner. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to wear this piece of jewelry. I never wear it. I'm going to wear it for dinner. And I went to go look for it where I thought it would be, and I couldn't find it. And so I discovered that I had hidden this valuable family heirloom from myself, and I couldn't find it. And then I couldn't remember if I'd hidden it. And so I was like, oh my God, did someone steal it? Like, I don't know, anyone that's in or out of our house or whatever. And so then that prompted me to have a total meltdown on Christmas Day. And then, now a month later, I was like, finally like, okay, I'm just going to clean I'm going to clean everything because I'm going to find this piece of jewelry. And sure enough, I did find it, which was yay, awesome. But I'm not normally someone who hides stuff from myself.
Do you remember hiding it?
It's interesting because when I found it, I did have a distinct memory of putting it there and looking up at Jeff and going, Jeff, I'm hiding this here. I'm definitely going to forget that I'm putting it here.
Oh,
Can
funny.
you please remind me that I hid this here?
So did he remind you that
No, he didn't. He had forgotten as well. I mean, it was months. I mean, honestly, it was probably June when I hid this ring, and it was December when I was looking for it. So I wonder
who were you hiding it from?
Well, I was just nervous about it being. I'm embarrassed to say, but here's what happened. I hid it in June.
You don't have to say. Was it The Walking Dead outside?
No, it wasn't. Well, partly yes, actually. I mean, our house is kind of in a methy. There's a couple of things. Like, really, I should put this piece of jewelry in a safe deposit box. Not to be, like, very Kim Kardashian about it or whatever, but I really should.
You do. I do warn you about talking about all your jewelry on this podcast.
I know. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
This is your second warning.
Did you read Fred's comment about that, by the way?
I
Fred
didn't.
Bushy left us a comment on our YouTube about the fact that I'm no Kim Kardashian, and it's totally fine for me to talk about my jewelry on this podcast. So anyway, the point is that I was nervous about both the safety of our home, about like just kind of some of the people that come in and out of it, as far as like service providers, like housekeepers and whatever, whatever. I mean, there it is. I'm ashamed to say that we had housekeepers come, and I was afraid that they might steal our jewelry. There. So I hid it from myself, and I found it. And I was embarrassed I was glad that I found it, but I was embarrassed that I hid it so well that I lost it. The whole long setup to this is just to ask, have you ever hidden something from yourself? Have you ever had this experience where you were like, where you hid something from yourself and you like lost it?
I don't think I have. Have I? No. I took my ring off for Hawaii, not because I was afraid someone was going to steal it, but because I was afraid I was going to lose it in the ocean.
Yeah. The ocean stole 3 pairs of my sunglasses in Mexico.
Yeah, and I didn't want to like put it in a safe and then forget it was there and leave it there.
See? Yeah.
Or something like that. So I just left it at home, but I know exactly where it is. And I'm waiting for my husband to fucking re-propose to me.
Ooh.
It will not be back on my finger until I'm re-proposed to.
I love that.
He hasn't done it yet. Just saying.
Well, it's really interesting because I never get nervous about that kind of stuff. And for some reason, I got like a wild hair and I got nervous about it. And I made this decision to hide this thing, and then I couldn't find it.
Well, I have to say my mother has.
Mm-hmm.
My mother has done that.
So I'm basically like your mom? That's It's okay.
You guys have one thing in common.
We have one thing in common. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I want to shift gears past that because I thought it was going to be funnier than it was.
But I remember the money that she did find, because it was money. She would hide like stashes of cash. And then freak out because she couldn't find it.
Yeah.
And then she found it like in a bra. Like, and you know the bras, how they used to have like a little place to stuff your cup padding?
Yeah.
She found it in there.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out. I love it. I love it. One last thing before we get to our main topic, which is that Cardi B I think we can all just acknowledge that Cardi B is becoming the voice of a generation.
Oh,
frankly.
see, I haven't heard about her lately, so tell me more.
Well, she is making internet waves because she was ranting about the government shutdown recently, which I tried to send this video to Mark, but I don't think we can get it up and going. So it's an Instagram video of her ranting about the government shutdown and like how ridiculous it is, and it's amazing.
Oh, good.
Well, then there is this conservative woman, Tommy Lahren, who is like kind of like an Ann Coulter light version.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah. So she said something about like, she tweeted something like, oh, Cardi B, a great political mind for the Democrats, hashtag MAGA, hashtag whatever, something dumb. So then Cardi B clapped back and said, bitch, I will dog walk you, which I feel like, oh, I'm just so here for this.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm ready to tell everyone that we're dog walking. Maybe that'll be our intro next week. Podcast for people who will dog walk a bitch. Because I just feel like, yeah, that is like, yeah, I don't know why that's mean, but I like it. Also, I'm dog walking a lot of dogs lately, so it's just like kind of consistent.
Maybe it's just because it's just right up your alley. It's just like really familiar. You're like, yeah, I will dog walk you.
I will pick up your poop. I will
really
put it in a biodegradable bag.
And I'll be like, yay, good potty.
I'll cheerlead you on when it's done.
Yes.
Well, anyway, it was awesome. The video of Cardi B talking about the shutdown is definitely priceless. I'll send it to you on Instagram. And with that, we are moved into our main segment of the evening. Something serious. Should I take a deep breath?
Let's get trill.
Let's get trill.
It's true and real.
True and real. Can you give us a setup on this?
I hope I can. I can't. So I think I learned a spiritual lesson.
Yes.
And it came to me. It kind of came together at the end of my trip after multiple experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the best way to tell the story, but I think I'll start at the end.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit more exciting than like the real shit. But I'll get to the real shit.
Yeah.
At the end, I'll start with Wanda from Hawaii.
Okay.
So I upgraded.
Intrigued.
I upgraded to first class as you recommended.
Yeah, and how was it once you
both ways?
How was it once you guys got? You were on the ground for a long time in Portland.
First thing I have to say, the Portland to Honolulu flight is a small plane, and it is not real first class. It's more like business class, but the service is first class, and I think that's why we could upgrade for such a low price. So I say take it.
Take it.
Because the service is first class, but you still have to climb over somebody to get out of your seat. So on the way there, I had kind of a large gentleman, and I had to ask him to get up every time I had to go to the bathroom, which was a little bit unfortunate. But
was it just two? The seats were still just 2 by 2?
2 by 2. But overall, it was really wonderful. I had a delicious meal and like tons of delicious guava juice.
Did they give you the warm macadamia nuts?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, they did.
Be still my beating heart.
Yeah, so I mean the service was first class for sure. But on the way back, I was seated next to Wanda from Hawaii, who spent 5 hours telling me how to live my life.
Whoa!
And I enjoyed her.
Oh,
I mean, but she was like 69 years old. I know how much she weighs. I know how tall she is. I know the height and weight of everybody in her family, and I know all of her rules for how I need to live my life.
But did you give her an all gold pod sticker? Is she listening?
I did give her an all gold pod sticker.
Hi, Wanda.
I don't know if she'll listen because one of her rules for how to live my life is like the podcast is a waste of time. Yeah,
Wanda,
you get up and you go to work. You get up and you go to work.
You do that though.
Yeah, that's true.
You do that.
No, it was cool. She asked me how much I weighed. She asked me how much I made when I sold my house.
Oh my God.
Like this
Wanda might know you better than I do.
Wanda, it was the realest shit. she didn't realize what she was doing, but she was kind of telling me what her life looked like today in an inadvertent way. And it was definitely like not how I want my life to look when I'm 69. Specifically, I don't want to be leaving my home in Hawaii for my home in Portland to spend a week away from my husband because I don't like him.
Oh, that sounds bad. That doesn't,
Right.
doesn't sound good.
Right.
Not gonna lie.
And so that kind of capped off this sort of spiritual lesson I learned with interactions with my daughter. And the kind of message that I started receiving was a new mantra that I have, which is just like, be easy.
Be easy.
Wanda was not fucking easy.
Well, she sounds very nosy.
Yeah.
So
but it's not just that. I think that she was 69 years old and she had lived her life a certain way, and she developed all these certain rules for life, and she ended up pretty boxed in.
Yeah.
And being boxed in, she wasn't allowing her husband to kind of share that space with her.
Yeah.
And her
I need to hear that.
And her daughter, who lives in Portland, who she doesn't know if she's even gonna see, and it was like very apparent that her daughter probably doesn't want to fucking see her.
It's interesting
because I know all about how she feels about her daughter's husband.
It's interesting that you say that she boxed herself in. The reason I said, oh, I know all about that is because I have found myself really considering my rigidity lately. Now, I've been thinking of it as part of my alcoholism, as part of my disease and desire to control and have everything how I like it. But especially with having a puppy, there is kind of a fine line between like, is this being rigid or is this just being responsible? Like that I'm making her go out every 45 minutes, or that I'm, having a puppy has kind of reawoken my awareness of like the areas of my life in which I can be particularly rigid, and that I get particularly annoyed when someone doesn't do something the way I think they should do it because I'm doing it this way and this is the way it should be done. Or when like I have to change, I have to be flexible.
Yeah.
Just a little sidebar.
Yeah, I totally hear it because what it brought back around was what I learned on this trip about communication and relationships. I'm really lucky that I'm married to a man who has met me where I am at every step with regard to communication. So the challenges that we've had with communication have been like really natural and easy for us. So we've been able to even if like he has to work to meet me and then there's a little space, then I have to work to meet him, it's always ended and it's always been really pretty harmonious. And so I'm really lucky for that. But I do have a very challenging relationship with my daughter.
Yeah.
And we've had years and years of distance between us because of the challenges that we've had. And we love each other, mother, daughter.
Yeah.
So neither of us are going anywhere. It's not a relationship that we could just walk away from.
Right.
So we keep trying to make this relationship work, but it's been challenging. And then we have all these years of distance between us, and we also have the geographic distance between us. So on this trip, we didn't have the geographic distance between us. We were stuck together.
Yeah.
And the first kind of magical, wonderful thing that happened that I needed to have happen, that I didn't realize I needed to have happened, it just happened, was that I was able to see my daughter.
Yeah.
Like I saw that kid that I love.
Yeah.
I saw her playfulness. I saw her sure-footedness. I saw how bright she is. I saw how responsible she is. Like I saw her.
Wow.
And that's who I was spending time with.
Yeah.
We had
what a gift. That's really cool.
It was. But then it did become challenging because these problems are real. Like these types of problems in relationships are real and they don't go away. And so they flare up.
Yeah.
And so of course they're going to flare up when we're on vacation. And of course they did.
Yeah.
And they did twice. And so what that looks like for us now, because there's damage. There's damage on both sides. There's some brokenness in our bond on both sides. There's distrust on both sides. So what it did was we both flew into each of our own defenses. And I stopped seeing her. I stopped seeing that kid, and I saw this person that I need to defend myself against.
Right.
I saw the enemy.
Yeah.
And she did too. And so we did the same shit to each other.
That's hard.
But we were stuck together in Hawaii. So we were able to come back around, and I have to give her props because she's the one that prompted it. And we were able to have a real conversation.
Yeah,
and because
that's incredible growth.
It was, but it wasn't just I'm not talking about we were able to have a real conversation and do a bullshit Real Housewives apology and let's just make this work so we could get through the trip type of thing. It was real talk, because I saw her, I saw that kid I love. And so now I'm open. I'm not in defense mode.
Yeah.
I'm not doing my same old shit.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her as a different person.
Yeah.
Now it's a person I know, it's a person I love, but
Right.
I'm looking at her different, and I'm open, and the walls aren't up. And she's doing the same for me. And we were able to share each of our experiences and hear each other.
That's incredible.
It was. And then we started doing well. But then something happened again. And guess what we
I'm like
did?
on the edge of my seat. Tell me more.
Right. No, but guess what we did?
Flew back to the
Immediately.
old stuff.
Same old stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same old stuff.
Yeah.
But like, and this was like a little bit dramatic, because the timing of it was, we were going to both get on planes without saying goodbye.
Yeah.
But because of like some really real shit we were able to discuss previous, because of that other one, I was able to do something different. I was able to be brave enough to put down my old defenses and do something different, and be like, I'm not fucking letting her get on that plane without saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And it was like the same thing. And we got to like she told me some really honest stuff. And I told her some really honest stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that we grew, and I know that we moved forward.
Yeah.
And it was really just about, the crux of it was just seeing each other.
Yeah.
I had to see her, and she had to see me.
Yeah. That is like that story is so incredible.
It was an incredible amount of growth.
Yeah.
And it's that whole thing where, like, doing something different, the thing that's hard, the thing that's scary, it sounds so cliche until you actually live it, and like until I actually live it, and I actually feel the power of it.
Yeah.
And I get the growth from it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting on this plane, and I'm just listening to Wanda. I'm really open to her. I'm open to everything. I was giving her a lot of space and grace. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't, in a place where I was feeling offended by some
Yeah.
of the offensive things she said. And
She knows everything.
and it was just really clear,
Yeah.
this message. It's like, what do you want? Like, what do I want in my life? What do I want my relationships to look like?
Yeah.
And how am I, because of my rules, like, boxing myself in
Yes.
the way, because I don't look like Wanda right now, but I do have certain behaviors that if I continue, I mean, Wanda is probably not that different than me.
Yeah, no, I can see myself, especially hearing you talk about that rigidity. I mean, that was just almost like a miracle right there, having you describe that with that specific language to remind me about like what I have to work on around my rigidness, and like the rules that I have around how I communicate, and the rules that I have around my behavior when I'm scared, and like that kind of stuff. I mean, one of the things that is so powerful about what you said was the concept of like really seeing her differently, because it's like the minute I'm afraid, all of a sudden the story of what I think about you, whoever the you is projected
The
onto
enemy.
you. Right. And I
Yeah.
don't see you anymore. The you that I
No.
love, the you that I laugh with, the you that, that I share my life with. I see like the you that I'm sure is scheming, that I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm telling the whole story is getting projected onto you. So it's like, oh, if I could take a minute and just remember that, that's like a great way to even take
Yeah.
a step back from the rigidity of like defenses up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but like, so she had to get really honest and real with me for me to be able to do that. And the other thing is, I can't do it by myself.
Yes.
She gave me the same grace, and she gave me the same compassion.
Yeah.
And so because she's my daughter, like, this is a relationship that she and I have both kept coming back for.
I was just going to say that when you were giving the setup, one of the things I wanted to mention is that even though you guys have some geographic distance between you now, I mean, you guys continue to choose. You said something in the about the mother-daughter bond that's always going to be there. And I thought, well, there are some people that walk away from that, and you guys have been able to.
I mean, it's been on the table for both of us.
Yeah, you guys have
Yeah.
been able to move to a place of like of being able to, and for it to be healthy for you both to choose to come back to it all the time, and that's that's like miraculous. And you're right, it does take two, because like one of us can keep showing up and keep communicating honestly and keep doing our best to like not project a new story or to be able to see the person we're talking to. But if the other person can't meet us where we're at, like you were saying with your husband, where it's like you guys meet each other where you're at the best that you can, it takes it does take two to have this communication experience.
Yeah.
And to have it and I guess to have it be as impactful and provide that much growth.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's also really serendipitous and really, I mean, it really is timing and where each of us are at that time. Because for me, what happened, I couldn't have made happen. I couldn't have had this conversation with you beforehand and be like, okay, this is what I have to do. I have to let down my defenses and I have to see her.
Right.
The kind of grace came to both of us where that was able to happen to me. And I do believe that was able to happen to her. And so because we had that same experience at the same time, we were able to have this growth.
Yeah.
And so there's a part of it that is in the hands of, I think, the universe.
Yeah, of the timing of it,
Yeah.
of how it all plays out.
Where
right.
where I am and where she is, and are we at that place at the same time?
Yeah, because there's plenty of times where one or the other of you might have been there, but the other one isn't, and so you're like a missed connection.
Yes, and I think that it's nice that she's my daughter, and it's nice that we do keep coming back, so that we've been able to have this experience, and now both of us experience some growth. I think it would be much more challenging in other relationships because I tend to bounce.
Well, it's so interesting because as I was thinking about this topic of being easy and communication, you know, one of the deep old wounds for me, one of the things that I really am always struggling to work on is this idea that I will someday have an honest conversation with someone where I'm like so real with them that I say something that damages our relationship so badly that it's gone. Right, that it's unreversible. And as I was thinking about that, I'm like, that is not even, when I think about that, what kind of thing I would need to say in order for that to happen is like not even consistent with like the human that I am.
I mean, you would have to say you downloaded one of R. Kelly's songs, basically.
I mean, would I have to say I searched him on Spotify? It wasn't me. It was not me. I love you. I need you in my life. So it's like, you know, there is an old story that I have that is kind of underlies all of my communication stuff around like being so bad or saying something so bad that I ruin everything permanently. Right. So it was interesting because that having this discussion on our docket gave me some pause to think about that, and also had me thinking about the projection piece that we talked about as well, where it's like, you know, if I can really see someone else as they really are, and then maybe I can also see myself as I really am, and I can realize like there is no way, short of searching for an R. Kelly song, that I could say something to damage any of the relationships I have beyond repair.
Yeah, and when I say that I was able to look at her and see her, I couldn't see her intentions. You know, we're never going to know another person's thoughts or intentions, but I could see this is somebody I love and care about and is good.
Yeah.
Like this person, this daughter of mine is loving and caring and good. And that takes away the power of the I have to have the wall up, I have to fight, she's trying to hurt me story.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't want to breeze over and just be implied that we have to say out loud, because even though I know that we understand this deeply, some of the listeners might not be there yet. What I'm talking about here that I was able to do and my daughter was able to do was to really open up and be vulnerable. We had to trust each other to be vulnerable with that hard shit that we each shared with each other.
That you're scared of.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the other things that I was thinking I wanted to add on is that because you had the idea of the resilience of relationships, which you and I have talked about a lot, and not all relationships have the same level of resilience. Like my relationship with my husband has more resilience than my relationship with, like, I don't know, my stepdaughter probably, right? Because we have different types of relationships. And so it's like, you know, sometimes when we think our resilience is low with someone, we think that we're going to say something and then they're going to go away and it's going to all be ruined. One of the nice things about having a really vulnerable, honest, authentic conversation and kind of healing through that and having a good couple of days or whatever, and then having another kind of flare up, is that you have some demonstrative proof of the resilience of your relationship, that when you can both come together, when the universe does provide you the opportunity to be vulnerable and honest and authentic with each other, and you are, then you deepen your intimacy and you deepen your resilience, meaning that you can, and it gives you kind of some proof that like, okay, maybe we can do this again.
Yeah, but it's also demonstrative proof too that like we're both humans and these defenses are real and they came here for a reason. And as much as I can, so if I can understand now that mine are like simply defenses, then I can look at her and be like, these are her defenses too, and we're both doing it.
Yeah.
And we can not do it.
We can choose something else.
we can do it, be okay, and then stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's powerful.
Yeah. So I think that like with her and I, and we both know this, like the flare ups, they will happen. We are mother-daughter.
Yeah.
I am gonna annoy the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not gonna hurt her or harm her. I really do.
Well, you guys are both firecrackers. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are big personalities.
Yeah, but like,
it's amazing.
I'm gonna annoy the shit out of her, and like, I'm gonna trigger her because we were also able to talk about triggers because there are past harms.
Yeah.
And we have triggers.
Yeah.
And then so that was the other kind of like powerful communication that all this kind of led to was understanding triggers.
Yeah. Well, and that's like such a huge extra piece of information.
Yeah.
Right? Even just knowing that, okay, if we hit these topics, I know what's going to happen. I know that these are deep wounds.
Yeah.
You know? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like so good. So the next time we level up, let's level up at Lindsay Lohan Beach Club.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go there and be easy.
Level up.
Yeah. So I've been trying to practice that with my husband.
That's amazing.
He makes it not easy. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I love that.
I lasted 1 day.
I love that as a topic of discussion. I'm so glad that you brought it tonight for us to chat about. Thank you for that. We are at about an hour. It's about that time.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
Yeah. But with that, we're going to wrap it up. We are sending you lots of love and light from Portland, and we are reminding you to
stay vigilant.
Yes.